look at this, we can see there is a great glorification of Prahlad Maharaj in the entire Bhagavatam. So amongst these 9 chapters, there is exclusive description about Prahlad Maharaj, his activities, his consciousness, his prayers, his instructions, and so on and so forth. So by learning Prahlad Maharaj, we can appreciate even more Lord Narsimhadev. So here in this chapter, 9th chapter, Prahlad Maharaj is actually pacifying Lord Narsimhadev with prayers, and it is in this context that this verse is being chanted by Prahlad Maharaj to Lord Narsimhadev. So it is very important that we know who is Prahlad Maharaj, what is his unique position. So as we may know that in Yudhishthira Maharaj in Mahabharata says about who are the 12 Mahajanas, or great authorities on religious principles. So in that the verse says, Tarko apratistaha shrutayo vibhinna nasau rishir yasya matam na bhinnam dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhayam mahajano ena gata sapantaha. So here Yudhishthira Maharaj is saying that Tarko apratistaha, so the dry arguments, tarkaha, so people apply logic, arguments, but it is said apratistaha, it is not fixed. Simply by using logic and reasoning, one cannot reach to the conclusive truth. So tarko apratistaha, shrutayo vibhinna nasau rishi, and the rishi or the great sages or munis, they are those who do not agree with another person's opinion. So they need to have a different opinion from another philosopher, another sage. So therefore, they also have very, very different kinds of opinions about what must be done, what should not be done, what is truth and what is not truth. And Shrutayaha, the Vedas. So Vedas also talks about various principles of religion. But simply by reading Vedas, it is actually very confusing sometimes as what is the ultimate conclusion of the Vedas. What is to be done? People get confused. Even after reading so many books, they actually get more confused about what should be done. So therefore, what is dharma, what is actually the religious principle, is not easily understood by people. They understand some aspect of religion, but they do not understand the real essence of religion. But how that can be understood is said here that dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhayam. So these principles of religious truths, the religious principles, are nihitam guhayam. They are present in the heart of these great Mahajanas. So the essence of the Vedic knowledge, the essence of all religious principles are in the heart of the self-realized devotees or the Mahajanas. So Mahajana ena gata sapantaha. So only if one traverses the path that is given by these great Mahajanas, the great devotees of the Lord, only then one can understand the real religious principles. Otherwise, one is just assuming oneself that one knows some religious principles. And today, one of the problem in the religious, so today there is a lot of conflict about religion, whether it should be practiced, it should not be practiced, what is religion, whether it divides society, and there are so many different opinions by different people. But actually, none of them really know what is religion, what are true religious principles, and how they are beneficial. So not knowing this, people are simply confused and struggling, and there are so many false religious traditions. So actually it is said there are 4 bona fide sampradayas, which are coming from Brahma, Lakshmi Devi, 4 Kumaras, and Shiva. So it is from them there are bona fide sampradayas which are coming, and in that there are bona fide acharyas who have understood in their hearts this message of religious principles are present, and they can deliver that message, they can give us that process. But for all others who follow up sampradayas or no sampradaya, for them they cannot delve into this confidential matter of what real religious principles are. And Prahlad Maharaj is one of those 12 Mahajanas. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, Maharaj, Yamaraj, he says, who are those 12 Mahajanas? He says, Swayambhur Narada Shambhu Kumaraha Kapilo Manuhu Prahlado Janako Bhishmo Balir Vaya Sakhir Vayam. So he is giving 12 names of the great Mahajanas whose path, if we follow, whose instructions, if we follow, we attain the highest religious principles, the ultimate truths that are mentioned in the scriptures. And here, one of the names that is mentioned is Prahlado Janako Bhishmo. So Prahlad Maharaj is also one of the 12 Mahajanas. That means simply by following his instructions, simply by following his footsteps, one can actually understand the ultimate truth and the process by which one can attain and also attain the goal of life, that is the perfection of life. So that is the qualification of Prahlad Maharaj. But now we must also understand, unlike the other Mahajanas, Prahlad Maharaj is very unique. He was born in the family of Daityas. Daityas are those who are enemies of Lord Vishnu, who dislike Lord Vishnu. So, born in a demoniac family, in a family where the father is a great atheist, he is always against Lord Vishnu, against the worship of the Lord. And in that family, Prahlad Maharaj is born. And therefore, his position is very unique. And he was just a young child. And yet, he was tormented in different ways by his father. Troubled again and again, just because he was worshipping Lord Vishnu. So there is so much for us to understand about Prahlad Maharaj, is how, being born in such difficult conditions, how did he practice devotional life? And therefore his instructions are very valuable for us. So we can see there are instructions of different Mahajanas, but Prahlad Maharaj's instructions are more covered in Srimad Bhagavatam. There are Kapila's instructions also, but then definitely Prahlad Maharaj has given so many instructions. And therefore these instructions are very, very helpful. And also it is very important to recognize how the Lord appeared for Prahlad Maharaj. He was just a 5-year-old boy. But because of his strong devotion, the Lord appears. So we must understand that Prahlad Maharaj is so exalted, Mahabhagavata, first class pure devotee of the Lord. And therefore, hearing about him, hearing his instructions can benefit all of us who are in the path of devotional life. Because by understanding the path that is traversed by Prahlad Maharaj, we can easily benefit as how to make progress in the spiritual path. Now in this verse, Prahlad Maharaj is addressing Lord Narsimhadev, and he is saying that Naivodvije Paraduratya Vaitaranyas. So Udvije means I am disturbed or afraid. Usually people in this material world are always disturbed. They feel something is missing, and therefore there is a disturbance. Why I don't have this, a good phone, a good laptop, or some other vehicle, something else we need more. So if as long as something is missing, one becomes disturbed. Or one becomes even afraid of things. What is going to happen in future? Will my money go away? Will I get a good job? Different factors. So people are afraid of the future, people lament for the past, and they are always disturbed for one reason or the other. The social interactions between people lead to different kinds of disturbances. Someone says something, and then there is immediately a disturbance in the mind, or we want things to happen in a specific way, and that is not happening, and immediately there is a disturbance. So in the material world, everyone is disturbed. But Prahlad Maharaj says, basically he's saying, Na eva, I am not disturbed or afraid. And Prabhupada elaborates that in the translation by saying, I'm not at all afraid of material existence. This is very important point. The struggle for material existence is existing for everyone. Everyone has to undergo this struggle for existence in this material world, because by nature we are spiritual beings. And therefore Prabhupada gives this example of fish out of the water. If fish is taken out of water, and even if you provide nice food, money, gold, everything, the fish is not satisfied, because its existence is in water. But when its existence is taken out of water, it immediately struggles. There is trouble. Similarly, we as spirit souls, we are meant to be in spiritual existence, in spiritual platform, in spiritual world. But now we are in a temporary material existence, asat. And therefore, our true nature, which is eternal, full of knowledge, full of bliss, is now existing in a space, in an existence which is asat, achit, and nirananda. So which is exactly our existence now is in a field of complete opposite of what our true nature is. And therefore, there has to be a struggle, because we are not fitting in well with what we are. And therefore, everyone is afraid of material existence, because this existence is temporary. This body can vanish at any point of time with the arrival of death. So everyone is afraid of death. Everyone is afraid of various things in material existence. Disease may come, old age is coming, any kind of problem may come in this material world. So one is always afraid of material existence. But Prahlad Maharaj is saying, I'm not at all afraid of material existence. Actually, this is a great instruction for us to understand how one can become fearless. What is that can make one fearless? So here Prahlad Maharaj is saying why I'm not fearful of this material existence. He says, Twadvirya gayana mahamrita magna chittaha. He says, because he is absorbed, magna chittaha, is completely absorbed. His consciousness is absorbed in what? Twadvirya gayana. So he is absorbed in singing the glories and activities of Lord. So this is the quality of a devotee. The devotee's consciousness is absorbed in thinking about the Lord, his activities and his glories. And Prabhupada very interestingly translates the word gayana as not just chanting or singing, but he says or distributing. So a devotee of the Lord is not only fully absorbed in the glories of the Lord, chanting, singing, but is also distributing it. So for a person, for a devotee who is absorbed in the thoughts of the Lord, glorifying them and distributing them, for them there is no fear of material existence. But for everyone else, there has to be fear of existence, material existence. And then he says, what happens when one's consciousness is absorbed in the thoughts and glories of the Lord? He says his consciousness becomes mahamrita. He is like in the great ocean of nectarian spiritual bliss. He is completely satisfied, completely ecstatic in nectarian spiritual bliss. So this is the quality of a devotee. A devotee is relishing constant nectarian spiritual bliss. And therefore, a devotee is not hankering after material happiness. He is not after things in this temporary material existence. So this is the state of Prahlad Maharaj. He is completely absorbed his consciousness in the glories and activities of the Lord. He is free from the fear of material existence. But then he says, Soche tatho. But he is lamenting. It is very surprising. If one is not afraid of material existence, if one is experiencing spiritual happiness, how can one lament? For very in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, we see Lord Krishna uh, um, chastising Arjuna by saying, Asochan anvasochastvam prajna vadamsha bhasase. So, Lord Krishna is saying, you are speaking like a learned man, but you are lamenting for that which is not worthy. So, in the very beginning, Lord Krishna is saying, why are you lamenting to Arjuna? But here, a great devotee, Mahabhagavata, Mahajana, Prahlad Maharaj is lamenting. So one may question, how can this contradiction exist? For one who is completely absorbed in bliss, how can he lament? This is a very interesting idea. And so here in the purport, Prabhupada explains that Prahlad Maharaj was happy and unhappy simultaneously. This is very interesting. We never heard this. We usually think either one can be happy or one can be unhappy. It is very rare to hear that someone says, I'm both happy and unhappy. Have you ever heard this? You ask someone, how are you? And they said, I'm happy and unhappy. No. But here Prahlad Maharaj is saying something like that. I'm completely in spiritual bliss, but I'm lamenting. How can this happen? So this is a very nice instruction here, that why is he lamenting? What for is he lamenting? When he has everything for himself, why should he lament? So when we lament, we usually lament for ourselves. We lament because we don't have something. I wish I had this. I wish I had more money. I wish I had something else. So our lamentation is for our own self, or maybe to an extended self to our family members, or maybe my family members should also do very well and they're not doing very well. Maybe they should have one more car, one more house, something. So we lament for ourselves or for our family members, or a little more extended self. To my community, maybe my community members must grow, and so on and so forth. So our lamentation is very limited to people who are connected with us or for one's own self. But here in this case, Prahlad Maharaj is lamenting although he is completely happy, because he is not lamenting because he is not having something. He is lamenting for others. Not just that who are connected with him, no. He is lamenting for one class of people. Who are those people? Who are not like him. Whose consciousness, magna chittaha, whose consciousness is not absorbed in the devotional service of the Lord. For all of them he is lamenting. For all of them he is unhappy. But for himself, he is completely happy. So one can say that this can be said as being unhappy on a platform of happiness. Being unhappy on the platform of happiness. That means for one's own self, one is completely happy. There is no need of anything. But for others, one is unhappy. This is the quality of a Vaishnava. Para dukkha dukhi. A Vaishnava is not just hankering after something that one, to get something and to accumulate something, some sort of material wealth or some sort of any kind of gain. In fact, in the very next verse also there is furthermore description about the quality of Prahlad Maharaj, of how he is lamenting for others. And so here it is said that in the very next verse again, he says that, my dear Narshima Dev, I see that there are many saintly persons indeed, but they are interested only in their own deliverance, not caring for the big cities and towns. They go to the Himalayas or the forests to meditate with vows of silence, Mauna-vrata. They are not interested in delivering others. As for me, however, I do not wish to be liberated alone, leaving aside all these poor souls and rascals. I know that Without Krishna consciousness, without taking shelter of your lotus feet, one cannot be happy. Therefore, I wish to bring them back to shelter at your lotus feet. So, this is the quality of a Vaishnava. For himself, he has everything, but he is not happy just because he has got everything. He is thinking, how can I make everyone else also happy? How can I make everyone also progressive in their spiritual journey and help them go back to the spiritual world? So this is a wonderful quality of a Vaishnava. And Prahlad Maharaj is very nicely saying that this is the decision of a Vaishnava, the pure devotee of the Lord. For himself, he has no problems, even if he has to stay in this material world, because his only business is to remain in Krishna consciousness. So it is said that Narayana parah sarve na kutashna bibhyati swarga apavarga narkeshu apitulyartha darshinaha. For a person who is solely engaged in devotional service, whose consciousness is fully absorbed in devotional service, for a devotee, such a devotee, it does not matter whether one is in Swarga, heaven, Naraka, hell, or even if one is in this material world, or even in any place. There is a devotee does not see it to be any different. For a common person, one wants to have a good space, good house, good everything. Only then one thinks one is safe, one is good. But for a pure devotee, it does not matter wherever one is. It does not affect hell, heaven, this place, that place, does not make any difference. Because the reason is the devotee is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness, fully engaged in the service of the Lord. So if we also develop the same ability, or if we also train ourselves to be absorbed in Krishna consciousness, then the ill effects of this material existence does not affect us. We can also remain completely happy in spiritual bliss. For a devotee, being situated in the heavenly planets and being in the hellish planets are equal. For a devotee lives neither in heaven nor in hell, but with Krishna in the spiritual world. So this is a very interesting secret, that a devotee, although may look like doing similar things like others, but is actually living with Krishna because of the devotional service, because of associating with the Lord by chanting, hearing his glories. So the position of a devotee is very, very different. And this is very important, that Prahlad Maharaj himself is bringing, that sometimes we say materialists want something. Here not only Prahlad Maharaj is saying that the materialists want something, but even sometimes a saintly person, they are interested in their own deliverance. So there are two kinds of saintly people. One is called Bhajananandi, and other is called Ghoshanandi. So Bhajananandis are happy doing bhajana for themselves. So they want to be delivered, they want to be freed from this suffering, and they take care of themselves. So some of them go to Himalayas, and they go and practice great vows of meditation and silence and Mauna Rata and so on and so forth. They take a lot of austerities so that they are saved, so that they are happy. But Ghoshanandis are not like that. They are not happy simply them becoming happy, but they are interested how to make everyone else also happy. So this is a great quality of Prahlad Maharaj. So, and we can see Srila Prabhupada demonstrated the very same principle that Prahlad Maharaj is demonstrating. Srila Prabhupada could have been very peaceful and happy in Vrindavan Dham. Srila Prabhupada had no reason to come to America. He was completely satisfied. He was completely happy in his endeavor to write books in Vrindavan. It was very peaceful. Vrindavan is the place where everyone loves Krishna. Everything is related to Krishna. And therefore Prabhupada says, Vrindavan is my home, Bombay is my office, and Mayapur is the place of worship. But Prabhupada considered Vrindavan as home. Who wants to leave home and stay somewhere else? But Srila Prabhupada took all the pain to come to the Western world because he feels the pain of other living entities. Paradukha dukhi. So when So this is Prabhupada exactly did what Prahlad Maharaj did. That is to glorify the Lord, not just by himself, but to give that opportunity for everyone, so that they also become happy. And therefore Prabhupada says, I built a home where the entire world can live, where there is no boundaries, there is no restrictions. Anyone and everyone can come and take the benefit of being Krishna conscious. So it is very important that we must see how much a Vaishnava cares for every living entity, how much one is eager to help another living entity go back to the spiritual world. And this is the great compassion of Vaishnavas, and Prabhupada is an exemplary in that matter of how much struggle and pain he has taken to establish all these temples, to write all these books, so that we can know the quality of a Vaishnava. So, and not only that, that sometimes it is important that in this universe, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, that people are after dhanam, wealth, janam, followers, sundarim, beautiful wife, or kavitam, flowery words where people come and appreciate one. So in this way, one is after all these things in the material world. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagadisha kamaye. Mama janmani janmanishware bhautad bhaktir ahetuki tvai. In this material world, everyone is after these things. Where will I get some more money? Where will I get some more followers? Where will I get some more beautiful women or husband? Or some sort of people appreciating one. And similarly, people in the material world after puja, labha, pratishtha, some fame. How can I make some more fame? How can I be some more greedy and amass more wealth? So in this material world means everything for selfish interest. But a pure Vaishnava is not after selfish interest. He is after the interest of the Lord. In the service of the Lord, one is completely absorbed. And Prahlad Maharaj, in his instructions, there are so many instructions, and very nice aspect about Prahlad Maharaj is that although he was in such a troubled situation, he was thrown from the cliff, he was made to be trampled by elephants, he was given poison, so many difficulties. Yet he was always remembering the Lord. And simply by remembering the Lord, he could overcome all the obstacles. And Prahlad Maharaj, he was in such a situation that he's always surrounded by atheistic people. And yet, he was so determined that when he used to go to school, and as soon as there was a recess period, a break, he would immediately call his friends and he would say, let me tell you something. But the friends would say, no, not now. We have to go and play. And he says, no, I have some instructions for you to become Krishna conscious. They said, no, we are very young. Krishna consciousness is afterwards when we become older. Now it's time to play. But Prahlad Maharaj was so compassionate, was so knowledgeable, that he would call all of them and he would instruct them. And there's an entire chapter of Prahlad Maharaj's instructions, and it is said Prahlad instructs his demoniac schoolmates. So there are various nice instructions in this, and the first instruction that Prahlad Maharaj gives here is Kaumaram achared prajno dharman bhagavatan iha durlabam manusham janma tadapi adruvam arthadam. So he says that one who is very intelligent must use this human form of life from the very beginning of life. In other words, from the tender age of childhood to practice the activities of devotional service, giving up all other engagements. So one of the very beginning instructions he is giving to his friends is that from the childhood, from the tender age of childhood, one must engage in devotional activities. Because this life is said to be adruvam, impermanent. No one knows at what point of time one can leave this body. Therefore, from the very beginning of one's life, one must take to Krishna consciousness. One must engage in devotional activities, because it is said it is easy to bend a bamboo when it is small, but when it grows big, it is very difficult to bend. So similarly, when we are young, that's why we are sent to school, because we can learn. But as we get old, we become more resistant to learn and change. So Prahlad Maharaj is saying, begin right now in this childhood to his friends. In our case, although maybe we are not any more children, but by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the process is so simplified that even if we take the process right now sincerely and seriously, we can attain the perfection of human life. So Prahlad Maharaj is saying, take to this spiritual practice, take to devotional life. That is real knowledge. That is real life. Don't waste in other engagements. Durlabham Manusha Janma. So Prahlad Maharaj is saying that this human form of life is very rarely achieved. There are so many species of life. There is so many different kinds of living entities existing, birds, animals, reptiles, and in that various classes of species, but none of them have this capability that humans have. That is to inquire beyond the four basic necessities of life: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Everyone is caught up in this. Where do I eat? Where do I eat? Where do I sleep? Can I build a bigger house? Defend oneself with bigger insurance plans and so many different ways so that one is protected. And then mating. So these are the four basic things after which the whole world is running. The animals are also running for that. But humans have this extra ability to have tattva jignasa, to inquire about the ultimate truth, to make a solution for all the problems of life. That ability is only available in human form of life. That animals cannot come and sit and listen a class. They cannot understand what is beyond these four necessities of life. But humans can. And therefore, the human energy must be dovetailed in this direction only. That is the instruction of Prahlad Maharaj. And the human body is most rarely achieved. And although temporary like other bodies, it is meaningful because in human life, one can perform devotional service. Even a slight amount of sincere devotional service can give one complete perfection. So, this is very important point. That even a slight amount of devotional service done can actually swalpamapi asya dharmasya trayato mahato bhayat. In Bhagavad Gita that is said, even slight performance of devotional service can save one from greatest fear, danger. So we have this opportunity. We do not know what is lying ahead of us. Today we have some healthy body and mind. So we should expend our energies in performing devotional service. And Prahlad Maharaj explains the 9 forms of devotional service that can be rendered. And of them, in Kali Yuga, the most important is chanting the holy name of the Lord. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama eva kevalam, kalau nasti eva nasti, eva nasti, eva gatiranyatha. So in this age of Kali Yuga, the only recommended process is Hare Nama, is to chant the name of Lord Hari, Lord Krishna. And especially Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given this process of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, that is to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Simply by chanting this mantra, one's heart gets cleansed from all material desires, from all material contaminations. The heart becomes pure. We may have so many things, but if the heart is not clean, what is the value of our life? What are we aiming? What are we achieving at the end of the day? So, the real process of spiritual purification is so simplified in this age, which otherwise Prithu Maharaj has to spend thousands and thousands of years of doing great austerities so as to purify one's heart. But in this age, it is so simplified. So, we should engage in chanting. We should engage in distributing. So, just like Prabhupada is translating, Gayana means not only chanting or distributing. So, we should also help in distributing this holy name. This is very important. That is the spirit of Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj is not thinking, I am happy by chanting. he is thinking, how do I distribute it? So Srila Prabhupada is just not thinking, I'm happy. He is thinking, how do I distribute this to the world? Similarly, in their footsteps, we should take this determination to chant and the glories of the Lord, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and also serve. Think always how to help distribute this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Then our chitta will be also Magna Chittaha, Mahamrita, our consciousness will be absorbed in nectarian spiritual bliss of Lord's glories, and then we will not experience any turbulence or fear because of material existence. And this is very important. Prahlad Maharaj has so many instructions, very nice instructions. All of them, many of them, Prabhupada has given wonderful lectures. One can go and read them. It is important to see that how human life is so important, so rare, and it is so temporary, yet it can be utilized to attain perfection of life. And although we are not anymore children, but still, by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada, even from now, this point of time, if we take that seriously, the process of devotional life, we can attain perfection of life. These are some quick thoughts. I'll stop here and see if there are any questions or comments. If there are no questions or comments,